Okay. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We have a webinar that's focusing on what can a county do to move the needle forward in energy. And our presenters today are from Travis County. It's based here, where I am based in Austin, Texas, is Travis County's county seat. You are joining a webinar that is with SPEAR, Supporting Partnerships for Energy Efficiency as a Resource. And my name is Sean Auckland. I'm the Local Government Program Manager. A little bit about SPEAR before we get started into our webinar is our mission is to accelerate the adoption of advanced building systems, energy efficient products and services in the South Central US. We cover Texas and Oklahoma. Our work is strong in policy, building codes, high performance buildings, trainings, and then also my program that I just mentioned in local government assistance and technical assistance. Our membership ranges from advocacy organizations, cities, counties, ESCOs, manufacturers, trade associations, utilities, and school districts. This webinar series is supported through the State Energy Conservation Office. And it's also part of a program that I manage called the City Efficiency Leadership Council. And it's a collaborative network of Texas cities, school districts, and other public entities engaged in partnership and resource exchange to expand the adoption of energy management best practices in the public sector. Cities in the name, but we actually cover all local government agencies, state universities, school districts, again, counties, and cities. So a little housekeeping before we get started. Everyone will receive the slides via email in a PDF form. You should get a recording within 24 hours, so it will be in your mailbox on probably Monday morning. And then we also have a follow-up survey. Please give us feedback. And if you are receiving CEUs for attending this webinar, you will need to respond to the survey so that we can respond with your certificate. And there's two ways to participate in this event with questions and chatting and providing resources. So one is, again, is with slido.com, and you would type in 2547148, and I will put that into the chat. And you can also participate by just putting your questions in the chat. All questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. So again, we have the chat box and we have slido.com for questions. And we also have a live question there right now. If you see that, it's just the challenges that your organization is currently experiencing. I want to welcome so much our three presenters today. I know that you only see two photos, but we have three presenters: Emily Acklin, the Environmental Program Manager for Travis County; Johanna Arendt, Community Resilience Project Manager; and Pragya Nirala. She is the Building Energy Manager. And Pragya, if I mispronounced your name, my apologies, please correct me. We'll go ahead and get started in the presentations, and I'm going to stop sharing. And the first presenter, you go ahead and you can share your slides and tell us a little bit about yourself as well.
All right. Well, thank you, Sean. Hopefully you can see my first slide.
We can. It looks great.
All right. So my name's Emily Acklin. I manage the environmental program for Travis County. And for me, that includes three programs. The first one is our sustainability program, which I'll be talking about a little bit here in a minute. We have an air quality program, a community resiliency program that you'll hear about later in this presentation, and then also a stormwater program. So yeah, we're busy at Travis County, but again, happy to be here today. A little bit about my background. I've been at Travis County now for almost 6 years. But my career has always been in local government. I worked for the Association of Oregon Counties, working for all 36 counties in the state of Oregon. So yeah, long career in working for local government. So today I'm here to tell you a little bit about, can I move my slides forward? There we go. Our sustainability program. So I'll go over, what we do in sustainability at Travis County, talk about our greenhouse gas inventory, our climate action plan that's relatively new for us, our environmentally preferable purchasing policy, our air quality program, and then a little bit about what we do with regard to public engagement. So for our sustainability program, I think the biggest thing that makes it successful is having dedicated staff. We're not a big group, there's 3 of us. And our project manager actually is Amanda Kemp. She couldn't be here today. But having at least 3 people working toward our sustainability goals goes a long way. And it's primarily because we manage all of the recycling contracts for Travis County, which there's quite a few of them because we have separate contracts for metal and tires and, just general recycling. So managing contracts, as I'm sure takes time. And so one of the biggest goals that we have is just providing customer service for every single facility, department, division in Travis County. We have a number of buildings, over 50 buildings. We've got over 5,000 employees at Travis County. So providing that customer service is time consuming, and it's a big deal. We engage employees. We have a green team that meets monthly. It's volunteer based. So if an employee wants to participate, they can. And we do, side projects where we'll have, like for Earth Day, for example, we're partnering with the city to do a cleanup event, just, things like that to get people involved. We have a number of recycling initiatives that are led by employees. So for example, we have our toner ambassadors. These are employees who are dedicated to collecting printer cartridges and making sure those get recycled. We also have a battery bucket program where people can bring in batteries from home and we will recycle them for them. And then one of our biggest programs, which I'll talk a little bit more about later, is our Commute Solutions program. That one lies within our air quality program, and it's aimed at trying to get employees to avoid commuting in 1-passenger vehicles. So again, I'll talk a little more about that, but it's about commuting to work. And then we have a number of trainings that we provide. We have our new employee orientation where it's required that people take this training when they come to work at Travis County, and we tell them all about the sustainability program and about our initiatives. We also have a universal waste training for the employees that deal with hazardous materials and universal waste. We require training for our environmentally preferable purchasing policy. So for people who buy things at Travis County, we want to make sure they understand how important it is to look at sustainable purchasing. And I'll talk more about that later too. So a couple of years ago, we started taking inventory of our greenhouse gas emissions. And I just want to make sure it's clear that this inventory is for our operations. So for Travis County operations, what is our carbon footprint? And fortunately, over time, we're starting to see a decrease in our metric tons, but the greenhouse gas inventory really gives us a good picture of, what we're putting out into the atmosphere and what activities are contributing the most. So you can see here, our buildings and facilities is the +1 contributor to our carbon footprint. And it's just because of, energy and the water use. Our employee commute is a significant contributor, but we've started teleworking. I think most people have started teleworking a little bit more. So in the past, the employee commute was a significant contributor, but now it's started to decrease. So with the greenhouse gas inventory being done, we decided to move ahead with our climate action plan. So again, this is for county operations. It's focused on reducing that carbon footprint. The climate action plan, I believe, was developed back in 2019. Gosh, time is flying by. But we do have one. We're one of the few counties in the state of Texas that does. So if you're interested in developing a climate action plan, please reach out. I'll talk a little bit about the development, because I think how we developed our climate action plan was really key. So before, we started the climate action planning, we did a lot of education and outreach on what climate change is, like, why is this important? And we really got the buy-in from our county executives. So that understanding, why this is important and what the big deal is, went a long way. So then we started scheduling meetings with every single department in the county that that would be responsible for trying to help us implement this thing. And, we're really trying to get buy-in. So those meetings were kind of brainstorming sessions where we asked employees, like, what do you think really needs to be done, or what can Travis County do to reduce our our carbon footprint? And so those conversations were really, really great. And out of that, we developed a climate action plan with actions. We have a timeline. So like low-hanging fruit, short term, medium range, like, 1 to 5 years, and then long-term projects and goals that the employees really thought could be attainable. So, we're a few years in and we're seeing challenges. One of the biggest challenges is that, the sustainability team is responsible for the implementation of this, holding people accountable, but we have no control, right? So facilities is a big department that really is, has a lot of responsibility for the actions, but the sustainability program lives in a different department. So working with facilities has been great, but there are challenges because not all of our climate action plan priorities align with facility priorities. So just one of the challenges that we're, moving forward and overcoming, but thought I would throw that out there in case you guys are working on your own, and that's one of the challenges. All right, so we are one of the few counties in the state of Texas that has an environmentally preferable purchasing policy. We modeled ours after Cameron County. Cameron County is down in the Brownsville, Texas area, South Texas. So they have one. So, EPP, it means purchasing and procuring products and services with the least adverse effect on human health and the quality of the environment. So, for us, developing this thing again was kind of the same protocol that we used for the climate action plan. We had to get people educated on, why this is important. What is environmentally preferable purchasing, and to begin with, and then, why is it important? So for the development of our purchasing policy, we pulled together a task force. And again, it was the high level, the county executives, the high level people making decisions, so that we got their buy-in. And we also had 2 commissioners actually co-chairing the task force. So that helped to have commissioner buy-in. And then, we worked with all the folks that were going to make this purchasing policy successful, and got feedback on what kind of training was needed. How are we going to report on this? How are we going to document success? So, it was about a year-long process. We pulled the task force together, and then we went to court with the policy and got it approved. And now it's all about implementation. And of course, in Texas, we have state statutes that limit counties' ability to purchase things. It's, purchasing laws. So that's a challenge. Being able to buy environmentally preferable items just in and of itself is a challenge. And then also our reporting software, we've had some kinks with trying to figure out how to best report this, because not all items are documented as being green. So that still continues to be a challenge. And so a little bit about our air quality program. I mentioned Commute Solutions. Again, it's a program that helps county employees get out of their one-person occupied vehicle and take public transit or walk or bike. We have a commuter leave incentive program which actually rewards employees for getting out of that single occupied vehicle with vacation time. So at the end of, I think it's reported out quarterly, you can accrue points for taking public transit or, commuting to work. That has been really successful. You can even get points for teleworking. So again, that's really successful because everybody wants vacation. We do give free transit passes for employees. So if they want to ride the bus, they can do it for free. We acknowledge and put out announcements about ozone action days. So when the ozone levels reach a certain threshold, we put out those announcements, one, to just notify the population that's vulnerable to ozone or for, on ozone action days. And then also it lets our county operations folks know maybe to not mow that day or to change their practice during that ozone action period. We do have a small air quality monitoring program where we've installed monitors throughout the county just to get baseline data on air quality. And one of our latest big exciting things is that we are converting our fleet over to EVs. So our air quality program has been working on getting charging stations, or at least right now we're working on getting funding for charging stations. We did buy our first electric F-150 from Ford, and that thing is fun to drive, let me tell you. So we're moving forward on that. We're really excited. And a little bit about our public engagement. We have a website. So we developed this with Texas State University. We did a study with them on illegal dumping in Travis County, and capturing the data for how much it costs the county to clean up illegal dumping is difficult. But we spend well over $1 million annually in just cleaning up our right-of-ways from illegal dumping. So out of that, we developed a website, TravisCountyRecycles.com. You can go there. And what it is it's a drop-off locator. So the intent was to help people figure out where they can take difficult things to recycle or dispose of, and find convenient drop-off locations. So you can go to that website, you can type in your address, and then in the drop-down, there's a material list. So I live at this address, I want to drop off batteries. And so up on the map will pop up all the locations closest to you that you can take your item to. So it's really a great tool to help people recycle and get rid of things responsibly. The sustainability program sponsors and supports events. We do the Pharmaceutical Take Back Day, which is a DEA program, the Drug Enforcement Agency. We do a Christmas recycling program where at the end of the holidays, folks can drop off their Christmas trees and we will turn them into mulch. So we have a couple of public events. We work with the constable's offices. We provide sharps containers for them to get rid of any sharps that they come upon. We have drug take back kiosks where people can just drop off pharmaceuticals, no free of charge, no questions asked, just drop them off and we'll dispose of those properly. And we work with the Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office has an amazing program, kind of calling it the Sustainable Jail Program, but they've got a number of efforts going on within the jail. Sean is very familiar with this because she worked on it while she worked at Travis County. But they have a farm, they've got composting, they've, so many things going on there. They have an aquaponics feature that they're, using to grow food. So we're working with them to keep those projects going. And that concludes all the things that we're doing in sustainability. I hope I didn't go over my time. Sorry. But I will turn it over to Pragya.
Great information. Thanks so much, Emily.
Great. We can see your screen.
You can see it? Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Emily, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm Pragya Nirola. I'm a building energy manager with the Travis County Facility Management Department, and I have been with the county 8 months since 8 months. And prior to me joining the Travis County, I work in an energy efficiency program that is based in New Orleans. I graduated in May of 2020 from Oklahoma State University. Today, I'm going to talk something about how the Travis County is moving the needle forward in terms of energy management. So here is my agenda. So I'll be talking about why energy management and what are the energy conservation areas that the Facility Management Department is focusing on. Basically, there are 5 areas. And I'm also talking about the future initiatives that the county is taking on the energy management. So why energy management? So to talk in the big picture, you know, the energy, environment, and economy, they are linked together. So, you know, reducing the energy will help protect the environment, and also it will help the cost-effective economy. So they are linked together. So energy management in the county operated buildings is necessary because, you know, we need to reduce our energy cost. We also have the air pollution that can be controlled. And we also have the Senate Bill 241 requirement. On this requirement, you know, there are 41 counties, and the Travis County is one of the affected counties who is required to report the energy reporting to the CEGO. And also we have the energy consumption reduction goal with the 5% reduction every year up to year 2026. So talking about the Facility Management Department, we have 80 facilities that is managed by the Facility Management Department, and the number of facilities is increasing in future. And the total gross square footage of the building is around 3 million, and the annual energy cost is 5.7 million. So the energy cost is, of course, expensive in terms of, you know, in terms of cost, in terms of environmental hazards, and it is increasing. So we also want to avoid the peak energy demand. So considering all of these factors, the Travis County has created a new position. This is, you know, this is the building manager position, which is basically my position. And this position is established since July 2022 to oversee the energy management. So this is completely a new wing in the Travis County who looks after the energy management. So our focus areas is, the number one is the energy management. So there are various initiatives going on in terms of energy management. So we are trying to replace the HVAC equipment which has the higher EER. EER is basically means the energy efficiency ratings. So we have also the LED retrofits that are going on. We have preventive and predictive maintenance system where we respond to the equipment failure, and also we had a routine maintenance going on. We also have a CMMS system that is basically the work order system. It helps us to track the work order, you know, to respond to the work orders based on critical, medium, and low medium priorities. We also have the building automation system upgrades that's going on in the county. So recently we have also created an internet portal where we connect all the BS system within the county operation and respond to that. We also have the efforts of converting into the premium energy efficient motors, VFDs, the energy audits, also the insulation side. We are trying to, you know, roof and the perimeter of the wall with high R values that helps in better insulation. Some of our buildings also have the energy saving window frames, also the electric vehicle charging station. We have around 20 or 22 electric vehicle charging stations, and also the county is moving to transition into electric vehicles. We have also the Texas Light Out it is basically the initiatives to save energy, light pollution, and also to save the birds, migrating birds. So in this initiative, we turn off the lights from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. And so we turn off throughout the year. So in terms of water management, we have installed water saving plumbing systems, and also we have used the Austin Reclaim Water System, and this is a huge initiative in the Travis County to use the reclaimed water from the city of Austin. It has saved a significant amount of money for the county. And so the reclaimed water is basically used in the cooling towers. So this is one of the examples that I wanted to give in terms of how we have saved using the reclaimed water. So we have almost like 11.7 million gallon of water that was used before, prior to using the reclaimed water. So after the reclaimed water, we are able to utilize around 11.3 million gallons of water through the reclaimed water. So previously we had to spend around $178,000 using the potable water in the cooling tower, but the reclaimed water for the same amount of water, so it costs like $23,000. So it's the savings of about $155,000. So this is quite interesting data, and it is a huge success project in the Travis County. Also in the renewable energy side, so we are transitioning slowly to the renewable energy. And so we have few of our buildings that has the solar panels on it. So the electricity, so also in the downtown buildings, the electricity is supplied by the city of Austin Energy. So they have a program called the Green Energy Choice. So it's still the part of discussion on our side. So we are more inclined on subscribing the Green Energy Choice program, and that helps us, to shift our electricity from the coal-based power plant to the Texas wind. So yeah, this is the transitioning that is going to happen likely in future. In terms of refrigerant management, we have the Commissioner Court has a resolution on the net zero greenhouse gas emission that was adopted in 2020. So in this resolution, we know by 2030, the county operated HVACR system is going to utilize the low GWP refrigerant. As we all already know, the refrigerant is the highest emitter of the greenhouse gases. So we are trying to switch to the low greenhouse gas emission, low global warming potential refrigerant. Currently, majority of our buildings use R134A, R410A refrigerant, and those refrigerant have a high global warming potential. So we also have a refrigerant tracking system. It is the cloud-based system with the refrigerant that the SBAC unit that has the refrigerant more than 58 pounds. We have the tracking system on those systems, and the tracking systems is basically allow us to see what's the level of the refrigerant, and also if there is any leak going on. So it will notify us so that we can respond to it quickly. So the energy conservation areas is also focused on the green buildings. As Emily already mentioned, the Travis County, the buildings are the greater emitters of the greenhouse gas emissions. In the Travis County is 55%. So we have all four of our buildings that are already LEED Gold certified and Silver certified, and we have two more buildings, the Probate Court building and the Civil and Family Court facility that is in the substantial completion phase, and it is going to achieve the LEED silver certification or a LEED gold certification. So yeah, our future initiatives includes, as I already mentioned, we are trying to switch to Austin Energy Green Choice program. Also, we are trying to utilize the preliminary energy assessment, which is the free energy audit that is provided by CECO. Although it is a preliminary audit, so it will help us, to define where we are at and what we can do in future to conserve energy. Also, we are also planning to use the data, analyze the data and tools, data using the tools and softwares. This is related to, and currently we don't have any, tracking system of electricity uses, also peak demand uses. So we are trying to utilize the software for analyzing the energy data. We are also almost finalizing the refrigerant policy. So it is in the draft. It is in the draft phase, and we are trying to get it approved from the Commissioner Court. And likewise, we have the HVAC equipment upgrade, air handling unit upgrades, the lighting upgrades, the BAS upgrades, and so all the efficient into the efficient equipments, and also the loads, global warming potential refrigerant system. So these are
can everyone hear Pragya right now, or?
I cannot hear Pragya.
Okay, she just got frozen. Well, let's see if she can rejoin us. Give her a moment and hop on. If not, we'll pivot to your presentation, Johanna. So we'll give her a moment. I am so excited with the information she was sharing, especially utilizing the State Energy Conservation Office, their technical assistance mechanisms. They have several, and the preliminary energy assessment is a fantastic resource where they will evaluate what you're doing and then provide a lot of low-hanging fruit on your next steps. And it's a great resource as well when you're trying to achieve your 5% energy reduction with the annual energy reporting. Well, yeah, it looks like, Johanna, we're going to pivot to your presentation, and I think that she was at our last slide. So we'll have all those slides, and hopefully she can join us for the questions and answers. All right, I'm going to mute myself. You go ahead, Johanna, and I'll let you know what all we can see.
Okay, so this is towards the end. Let me go back to the beginning. All right, that's the beginning. Can you see that?
I can. Great.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Really looking forward to sharing with you what we're doing around community resiliency. My name is Johanna Arendt, and I am in the environmental quality program under Emily. And so community resiliency, as she mentioned, is one of the programs in that program. And so I've actually been with the county for about 7 years. Prior to this, I was managing the outreach and education and volunteer program for the Balcones Canyonlands Preserve, which is a really massive preserve for mitigating land for endangered species habitat. But when this opportunity came up, when this program was created about a year ago, I jumped at it. It's really an exciting field to be in. And my background in general is varied. It's been largely in conservation, but I have worked in nonprofits, government, and private sector, especially small communication firms. I used to do GIS mapping runs the gamut. I'm just interested in all the things. Okay, so I wanted to start with this graphic just to, check in on climate change, where we're at. I don't know how many of you are, following the latest information on it. So I just wanted to start with, getting the foundation. So this is a great graphic from a climatologist named Ed Hawkins at the University of Reading in England. And he's one of the most prominent climatologists. He was one of the lead authors on the 6th assessment report from the IPCC. And this is just a graphic kind of illustrating the warming that's been happening. So the blue is global temperature change since 1850. And as you can see, we are here is in that area where it starts to get orange. So we've already been in this period where the global temperatures have been warming. And then these different bars going from the bottom to the top are based on our choices of how we are going to cut greenhouse gas emissions or not. And as you can see, even if we cut all of our emissions, which unfortunately is probably not real practical, but even in that case, we're still going to be feeling the effects of climate change, but it would be much, much worse if we don't cut them significantly. So that's why our program is looking at both reducing greenhouse gas emissions and adapting to the climate change that will happen, even if we are successful in reducing all of them. So recently in the news, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, came out with a report saying that there was a rapidly closing window of opportunity to secure a livable and sustainable future for all. And so that's pretty notable for a couple of reasons. First, it's very scary, especially when you look at some of these projections up at the top. Our region in Central Texas here by 2100, if we, in the higher emissions scenario, will have an average of about 8 to 10 degrees higher than we are having now. And that's the average. We're going to have a lot of variability, but that's hot. And that affects especially our most vulnerable populations the most, but also everybody. And it affects all kinds of different, economic systems and the energy grid. And it just is very challenging, as we all know. So, but I think the other thing that's notable about this is that not only is it really scary, it also says there is still a window. I think a lot of folks have kind of given up, that they call it doomism, this idea that, well, it's too late, so we might as well just enjoy our lives and not think about it and not think about this looming scary thing. But we do have a window still to act now to really make a significant difference of the future life here in Texas and around the world. And I wanted to just check in about how those temperatures affect the planet, because just a few degrees higher for many folks doesn't sound that bad, right? But it's really affects the planet in a similar way to how those increased temperature affects a human body. If you go from 98 all the way up to 103, that's only 5 degrees difference, but it's really causes big problems for all of your systems. And it's similar with the planet. The overall warming ends up destabilizing all of these natural systems. And so we end up with a gamut of challenges that we haven't had to deal with before. So we've got both extreme heat and extreme cold. We've got increased flooding and drought, so there's a lot of variability, a lot of extremes. We've got increased risk of wildfire. We've got more storms. We've even got tropical disease ranges expanding northward with the changing climate. So it's a lot to deal with. We in Central Texas don't have to deal with rising sea levels, but of course that's something that coastal communities are dealing with a lot. So our program, as I mentioned before, has two main focus areas, working to reduce greenhouse gases in the atmosphere and increasing resilience to these climate hazards. And unlike the sustainability program that Emily was talking about earlier, which focuses primarily on the internal county operations and buildings, we're focused on the community at large. For the most part, there are exceptions to that. So I'm going to start talking about the reducing greenhouse gases part of it. And this, so we are, as Emily said, we have a climate action plan for county operations that was started in 2019. We are doing, right now, we're almost done. We're so close, but we are finishing up a greenhouse gas inventory for all of Travis County. Since it's not quite done yet for this presentation, I'm using the Austin greenhouse gas emissions as a proxy, since, you know, the vast majority of emissions and population and everything economy going on in Travis County is in Austin. So it's a pretty good proxy for looking at Travis County's overall emissions. So this is theirs from 2019, and you can see they have these different categories up at the top that correspond to the colors in the bar chart. And like most communities, the two largest ones are electricity and transportation. But we do also have these other aspects like refrigerants, industrial. Here in this region, there's actually one of the major industrial emissions is F-gases, fluorinated gases that come from semiconductor manufacturing facilities, as we have a lot here in this region. And then we also need to remember the natural systems that have you know, regulated our climate since before we were here, and they do a lot to offset those emissions. And so they are including that as part of their calculations, and we do too, as to, you know, sort of the, this is how much is being emitted, but this is how much is actually being sequestered by those natural systems. So at the same time that we are facing climate challenges, we are also, you know, still a very, very quickly growing region with tons and tons of roads and new cars and buildings being, you know, added every day. And so that kind of compounds these challenges that we're dealing with climate change. So increased development leads to increased electricity usage in transportation. So that increases carbon emissions, is, you know, assuming that those are not all electric vehicles and that the electricity grid is not all renewable, which is currently the case, that's not all based on renewables. And it also affects many of the same things that climate change affects. So it also increases temperatures through the heat island effect. It also can impact our risk of flooding and can increase wildfire risk to homes as those homes get, more and more homes are built in the wildland urban interface. And then also as those temperatures increase due to both climate change and the urban heat island effect, that also increases demand for power, again, increasing emissions. So it's kind of a snowball effect. So that's one of the challenges that we're working with. So what can we do? The good news is the emissions are already trending downward in Austin and Travis County because, oh gosh, I'm really behind on time. I'll try to speed it up. Because Austin Energy, which is one of the major electricity retailers here in the region, has been shifting over time to more renewables, and they have plans to continue that shift. So our carbon emissions as a region is actually going down, but there's still a long way to go. As Emily mentioned, we have the internal climate action plan for county operations. We are working, as I mentioned, on the countywide greenhouse gas inventory. My colleague Max Morales has been leading that up, and we're working closely with both the city to make sure our methodologies are aligning, and also with ICLEI, which is a wonderful organization that's really been helping us with that. And they will be helping us also to develop science-based targets and recommend strategies for how to reach those targets for reducing emissions. We'll also be working on a community climate action plan, similar to the internal one we have, but this will be with the entire community. And we're also, you know, helping to inform county plans, such as the land water transportation plan, which is currently being updated to bring the lens of climate into those plans to advocate for, you know, actions that will help reduce emissions and increase resilience. And those are already the priorities of many of our departments, but you know, just adding some extra knowledge and resources to those processes. Also, Travis County continues to be active in land conservation. And as I was mentioning before, the carbon sequestration is a really important factor where these natural systems, forests, wetlands, grasslands will, through their natural processes, absorb carbon and then store it either within the vegetation themselves or into the soil. And so best way to do that is to conserve land and keep it, as wild systems that are benefiting us in many, many ways. And also we're looking at ways to increase carbon sequestration through land management techniques. That's an area that we're learning more about right now. We also have a community weatherization program funded by the DOE that has triple benefits. It reduces emissions, increases resilience, because as people, have heat or storms hitting, the weatherization can really help them withstand that, and also helps reduce energy burden for folks who are struggling financially. And then we're planning to create education campaigns for residents and businesses about how to reduce carbon footprint. So EVs, public transportation, home weatherization, all these programs. Okay, so moving on to the community resilience. Okay, I'm going to try to make this quick. So basically, I think we all had a wake-up call with Winter Storm Uri a couple of years ago, for those of us who are in Texas, and I think it really spurred a lot of action. And I know our commissioner's court had been thinking about climate change before, but I think this was a catalyst to really get ahead of the issues and put staff towards working towards both reducing the greenhouse gas emissions and becoming more prepared for what we know is coming. So we've had to adapt a lot. The community has had to adapt. We know these disruptions are just going to keep on coming and are going to increase. So we're trying to get ahead of that. So resilience, here's the definition of it: the capacity of individuals, communities, institutions, businesses, and systems to survive, adapt, and thrive, no matter what kinds of chronic stresses like long-term heat and acute shocks like storms they experience. And so this graphic shows the basic concept of, if you are more resilient and you have these impacts, you can either sort of sustain long-term damage, which then when you recover, you're actually worse off than when you started, or you can bounce back. But I want to sort of complicate that idea a little bit. I've been hearing a lot that we shouldn't think of it as a rubber band stretching and then coming right back to where it was. More likely it's going to evolve. Just like with COVID, we all had to, it was a pretty big shock, and we all evolved, and where we are now is not exactly where we were before. Some things for the better, some things for the worse. So it's more about systems being able to be resilient so that they bend rather than break when these things happen. And so strengthening those systems and looking at things from a zoomed out, holistic way. So that's a lot of what we talk about with resilience. And there's a couple of different types of resilience. There's mitigation and adaptation. Mitigation is actually reducing the threat. Adaptation is figuring out ways to live with it. So for example, heat, mitigating it would be planting the trees to create more shade. So, folks literally have less heat hitting their homes or themselves. Adapting to it would be more like a home weatherization program, so that heat is impacting the building, but the building's adapted. So here are some things that we're doing. We are working on an ILA right now with Texas State's Institute for Government Innovation to do an internal vulnerability assessment. So this is the part where it's not a public community scope. This is a project that we're working on that is internal to Travis County. So that's the one exception. We're really excited to be getting going on this. And the idea is that we're going to be looking with Texas State at county facilities, operations, infrastructure, and services, and how climate change is likely to impact those and identify areas where those can be strengthened. We're also doing cross-departmental internal resilience planning. This has been really key to just have lots of communication going on among the departments. I think especially with COVID, people haven't been in communication as much as they were in the past. And there's always, I think every government deals with some siloing, right? But these are issues that are cutting across all of those different sectors. And so we've been having these periodic meetings to share concerns and success stories and talk about grant funding that can help achieve individual departments' goals, and talking about climate projections, and just getting everybody, you know, a space where they can discuss this. Our Office of Emergency Management is currently updating the hazard mitigation plan, which is a really big deal. They're identifying critical infrastructure throughout the county, and also mitigation projects, so that those would then become eligible for FEMA funding when disaster declarations come out. And I'm sure I'm simplifying that way too much, but I also want to point out that, you know, we are definitely not the only ones working on resilience. Not only are we working with many different departments, but a lot of the things that departments are already doing really strengthen those systems. And so even though they might not be called resilience, they are part of that overall strategy. Another one of those is increasing broadband access. Our IT department is working on that in a partnership with the City of Austin. Again, partnerships with other municipalities or other local government entities is really key here. And broadband access has become so essential, not only to, you know, disaster response, but just about every element of life. And so that's a big part of resilience. Austin is working, and Travis County are working together on a county food plan, which is the first ever in this region, to look at the vulnerabilities of the food system all the way from agriculture to waste disposal, and come up with community-based solutions for strengthening those. We're updating our community wildfire protection plan again. This is the second time we'll be this is our first update. It was created for the first time a little over I could be getting that date wrong, but it's time to update it. It's been there. We've had it for a number of years. We're updating it. That's also a partnership of Austin, Travis County, and other firefighting entities within Travis County. Another partnership is looking at resilient hub development with Austin and various ISDs and other municipalities within Travis County. And the idea is to identify what people need before, during, and after extreme weather events, and have community-based resources for folks to access. And so each of those is going to be unique based on the community. And then just general community resilience planning. We're doing a lot of outreach to different communities, and, you know, researching different solutions and grant opportunities that can help each individual community deal with these challenges in a way that makes sense for them. So we're facilitators and conveners and an information clearinghouse. We're just kind of facilitating this conversation and these strengthening actions. And also we'll be doing a public education campaign about climate projections, about grant opportunities, especially the Inflation Reduction Act grants that individuals or organizations can apply for. Home hardening methods, which is ways to make your home more less vulnerable to things like wildfire or flooding. It's especially specific actions that you can take to change the structure of your home. It can range from anything from, honestly, cleaning out your gutters on a regular basis to reduce wildfire risk, to, you know, changing out the type of fencing. There's all kinds of different things with different budget levels that can be done. Talking about backup power and water opportunities, educating people that they're really going to need to be able to have supplies on hand for at least the first 72 hours after an event, and helping people identify what they are going to need. And also, you know, educating folks about floodplains, and hoping to help people make informed decisions about properties that they buy or develop, and also talking, you know, with the development community about opportunities to incorporate resilience into new development that's coming. So there's tons of opportunities. There's no lack of opportunities. We are very busy, but it's exciting work, and it's great to be partnering with other departments and other entities. And that sums it up. So it's like we have just a few minutes for questions. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you so much, Johanna. You had a lot of information to cover. I'm going to go ahead and share, if you could stop sharing, and I'm going to share our questions right here and change the view so we can go ahead and start answering some of these questions with the last couple of minutes.
that we have, and you're welcome to unmute. So one of them is, do we get a copy of the presentation? Yes, you do. I will be sending that out to you in an email. And so that will be soon enough. You'll be getting it by Monday morning. As well as I put in the chat a link to the SPEAR YouTube video. We have over 100 training videos. So another question that we have is, does Travis County have any initiatives on LEED certification for buildings? And I see that Pragya covered that a little bit. If you want to talk a little bit more about that, about the number of buildings and why was Travis County moving forward on that? It's pretty unique for a county agency to have that kind of initiative for LEED standards.
Son, can you repeat that question again?
Oh, sure. Does Travis County have any initiatives on LEED certifications for buildings?
LEED certification, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we have, so because the building is the main contributor of the greenhouse gas emissions, so the facility management department is mainly focused on having the buildings that are efficient in the energy, in terms of water, in terms of the site management, also in terms of green energy. So yeah, we have done the few LEED buildings in the past, and also we have a few buildings that are still under construction and that are yet to receive the LEED certification.
Great. And then another question in here is Travis County utilizing any outside funding mechanisms for some of these initiatives? And I ask that, because there's several initiatives moving forward, right? The Inflation Reduction Act, there's a lot of different grants and mechanisms are out there. So it's interesting to see what you all are utilizing.
So as far as my knowledge, because I'm new to the program, as of now, we have the budget to do that. So the Travis County is allocated certain amount of money for those kind of activities. So I'm not aware of any type of grant that we have received so far. It's all the budget.
And we are working together with Pragya and other folks in the county to pursue the EECBG, the Energy Efficiency Community Block Grant, which has close to 300,000 allocated for Travis County, but we need to, do a pre-award paperwork in order to register for that, essentially. And so my colleague Max Morales has been working on that paperwork, and we're actually going to be handing that process off to our colleague in air quality, and she'll continue working together with Pragya and other departments on pursuing those.
That is the new kind of grant in terms of energy efficiency. So the deadline of submitting the full report is January of 2024. So yeah, I'm glad to have the Travis County receiving around $300,000 on the energy efficiency project.
And what about Emily? Is there any other programs that you all are seeking some funding mechanisms for? It's pretty broad.
Yeah. We're always looking for funding, right? We are looking at grants out there for EVs. So there's some money available for charging stations that we're pursuing. Off the top of my head, that's the main one that I'm aware of. But with the feds potentially delivering funding, we're going to be on the lookout for any opportunities for sure.
And so Max, my colleague, has been doing a lot of research on the grant opportunities coming from the Inflation Reduction Act. And so we're helping to keep departments apprised of those opportunities, as well as other ones that come along.
Well, fantastic. We actually have a couple of webinars that are going to be talking about that, some other funding mechanism opportunities. So please pay attention. I dropped the website for SPEAR and all our webinars and more local and government information. I was going to share the slide for our future upcoming webinars, if we have a moment, it'd be great to share that. And then also just kind of close and saying thank you so much, Emily, Pragya, and Johanna, for your time and your expertise in sharing with us. Thanks again. And I definitely learned a few things. So I want to say thanks again for sharing with the CLC group and Spear, and everybody have a wonderful rest of their day.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for those of you who are interested in contacting me, again, you can go through our website. And thanks again for your time.